Round 5 of the Formula Drift Blackmagic Championship heads to the PNW. That's the Pacific Northwest. As the championship tightens, there are at least 7 drivers who are vying for contention. Who's it gonna be? Is it gonna be Odi Bakshis, who started off the season strongly? Is it gonna be Frederick Osbo, Chris Forsberg, James Dean, or Peter Visick? The battle in Seattle, as it's known, begins now, only on Formula Drift Insider. Before the party unfolds in Seattle for round 5, let's take a look back at round 4 in the Garden State.
So in New Jersey, in top 16, I battled Von Ginn Jr., very seasoned, veteran driver. He was on it. It was apparent that he's doing well. Honestly, we were keeping track of everyone on my side of the bracket, and we were confident with everyone. When honestly, it was my time to follow JR. It was really hard for me to keep proximity down the straightaway. He took a line that used up the whole track, and I had to move out of the way, give him, the leadway. He's the lead car, and that really put me off pace. And honestly, that I felt like is what cost the battle. Unfortunately, I felt like it was lost before we started drifting, but hey, we're ready to keep adapting. And like I said, hopefully luck is on our side.
Jersey was going great for us. We felt good in the car, and we thought we had it dialed in and working really well. And we ran Ryan in top 16, and we've beaten him in most head-to-head battles that we have had together. And so we're feeling pretty confident. But they definitely had that car hooked up, and it had some grip on us. And we got a little bit of a gap on our chase run when he was in the lead, and it was enough to let him get the win. And so he was definitely feeling it, and just a little bit more than we were that day.
New Jersey was a great event for us. We qualified really well there. I feel very comfortable on that track, and we got all the way to top 4 where we battled Ryan Turk and had an incredible battle with him. He just had a bit more speed than us, and he managed to win the event, but we got 3rd place in the podium, and it felt absolutely brilliant to get 2 events on the podium.
New Jersey was very, very exciting. We ended up finishing 2nd behind my very good teammate Ryan Turk. He got his first win in several years, and really, really happy for him. We gave it to him in the finals. It wasn't enough. He's on fire. But overall, that 2nd place result sent us into the championship lead.
It feels so amazing to get a win here. I thought it's been since 2015 in Orlando. To win in a one more time battle here with one of the best on track is phenomenal. And I thought Atlanta felt like a win, and it's, one step above.
Formula Drift Insider on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Blackmagic. Own your shine. By Gum Out. Science in, performance out. And by Air Force. Aim high.
For numerous years, Formula Drift has made its way to Evergreen State Fairgrounds. These fans are some of the most hardcore in the championship.
We're in Seattle for Formula Drift round 5, and I'm sitting 2nd in points. Got a lot of pressure. Got to jump back up to 1st in points and not let the guys behind me take over. So I got some weight on my shoulders, but I'm enjoying this track. This is an awesome track. It's one of the fastest tracks on the series, and you really have to be dialed here.
Yeah, the craziest part about all the tracks that we go to is we're always searching for the next spot on the track where we can pick up a little momentum, a little speed, without sacrificing the line or the angle and the style, of course. And so for this track, there was a lot of talk about the initiation, getting into the first turn, being right on the rear bumper of the car for tandem. In the driver's meeting, we talked about that more than anything else. So I think it's all about just getting into the bank with the lead car door to door so that you don't just get left behind. So it's going to make for some really impressive tandem this weekend.
I think this track suits my driving style. It suits our cars. The cars are very well balanced on this track. They feel nice up in the bank. They're very comfortable at the high speed. And over the last 2 years, we've had a lot of success here. So You know, it gives me a bit more confidence trying to you know, get a good result this season.
Seattle is the start of the second half of the FD Championship, and this is always a good one. Excellent track, super fun, really fast and tricky negotiating that bank and coming down from the bank. Fans are great here. Reminds me of Europe because it's green and lush, and it's a nice FD event out here every year.
It's, I mean, after coming off a win, it's good. I mean, obviously feel more confident, but at that point, obviously there is a little bit more pressure because now it's almost expected. But I don't really let that stuff bother me, just because there's just so much work to do and to learn with the track and the car that you almost can't even think about that anyway.
While some drivers are preparing, other drivers are going into disaster mode.
This is the worst. I'm going out for my first qualifying run, and I could tell at the start line that the motor's not idling correctly. I talked to Steph. He tells me, all right, it's clearing up. It was clearing up, and deep breath, trying to do the run. But halfway through the run, I noticed the motor's not running well, and going into turn 2, it ultimately seizes up completely. So that's a 0. Blown engine. Luckily, I have the best guys in the business on the case by now. We have spare motor ready to go. We have everything set up for a quick engine change, but do we have time? Not sure if we have enough. Went out there, put down a safe run. Didn't really score very well, but we ended up in the show.
After a crazy turn of events, Frederick Osmo and his team gets it back together, and the hunt is on for the championship.
Formula Drift Insider on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Nexen Tire. We got you. By NOS High Performance Energy. How hard will you drive? And by Falcon Tires.
After qualifying, the next stop is top 32. With a few drivers not making competition, Peter Visick, our #1 qualifier, gets the bye run at a top 16. Odie Bakshis continues on, Vaughn Gittin Jr. takes up Pat Gooden, Jonathan Castro gets taken out by Dylan Hughes, and this is his first top 16. Frederick Osbo takes out another Floridian driver, Kevin Lawrence. James Dean has a bye run as well, and then Chris Forsberg and Jeff Jones get into it, going into the power alley. Eventually, Chris Forsberg gets the win, taking him on to the top 16 among the other fielded drivers. Some of these drivers will be watching from the sidelines after the top 16, moving on to the grade 8. Peter Visick, feeling the flow, moves on to his first battle of the weekend. He goes against Matt Kaufman from the Pacific Northwest.
So first battle in top 16 was Matthew Kaufman. I managed to go through, so now I'm just about to learn against whom I will be driving in top 8. And yeah, we will prepare for our second battle.
Top 16 going against Travis Reeder. He's back in his old car with some more power, and he's looking really strong out there. So he was going for it, initiated really high, fast, and the car just started walking up a little bit on him, and he got into the wall with the back of the car, almost snapped straight. I thought he might stuff it, but I stayed in the throttle. It was wild, but it was a lot of fun.
I just had a good battle with Odie at the top 16. I was leading first. I had a decent lead, and I'm not sure he was really close or not, but actually coming down from the bank, he tapped me, and then moving into the follow run. I tried to go as close as I can, but he was so fast, so I couldn't close the gap from the start to the end that much, but maybe kept in like a half car length. So the biggest mistake he made, and when I was leading, that's the reason why I got moved on.
Probably the best run of my weekend up front. And then we switch roles. I'm chasing Vaughn. As we come into the power alley, I get lost in the smoke, and I transition way early going on the inside of the course. I was way off course, and I hit Vaughn. But from what the judges saw, they saw Vaughn over-rotating inside clip number 1, which was an independent incident. And what I didn't know was he made a huge mistake when he was chasing my second lead lap. So lead to lead, chase to chase, I got the win. I was really confused. I thought we had lost, but I'll take it. I'll take any win.
Next battle has 2 champions going against each other early in the top 16. It came down to these two gentlemen in the final battle in Irwindale last year, and now here they are going toe-to-toe in Seattle. But Frederick Osbo pushes way too hard beyond the finish line, causing him to go over the two-time and defending FD champion. Frederick Osbo and his team need to thrash in order to do battle against James Dean.
We got into James after the finish line. Hit his wheel, bounced up, went airborne, dragged the entire front left suspension off of the car. Now the boys are trying to fix it within 5 minutes.
Miraculously, the team is on deck. They get the car back together just before the clock expires, and they go against James Dean. But James Dean is too much to handle and eventually gets the win.
Yeah, we had a great battle, myself and Frederick, on track. During both our runs, in between the start and finish line, no contact, clean driving, everything sweet. Both of us pushing hard, and over the finish line, I was just releasing the throttle, getting to talk to my spotter, and Frederick was trying to finish strong, and just caught my back wheel, which threw him up in the air, and yeah, they did quite a bit of damage. So good job to their team for getting back out in 5 minutes. Unfortunately, you don't want those things to happen, but you know, we're both pushing hard, and this stuff happens.
You know, just went against Matt in top 16. That dude is always super fast. I mean, we put pretty much everything we have into the car, like the fastest setup that we've ran all weekend. On my lead run, I just did everything I was trying to do. I feel like my lead runs just keep on getting like better and better throughout the weekend. I timed it right on the chase, and we were able to stay on his door on the bank, and he created a little bit of a gap, but I was able to close it, and he created a little gap and close it. But I think just overall our proximity was like closer, and man, it feels good to beat that Corvette. That thing is super fast, and we're moving into grade 8.
So Turk out-qualified us, so he ended up leading first, so I drew the chase position. So the first thing we did, we initiated in the bank. I just gave it a good clutch kick. I knew that we were pretty tight on him, stayed nice and high on the bank. I had to check up just a little bit towards the end of the bank, and then as soon as we came off the bank, we transferred, super blind through the smoke. We were able to catch him pretty well. He was on the perfect line, and that basically just let me be able to stay close to him. Super consistent, super smooth, and we just finished out nice and smooth. And it felt sick, to be honest with you.
Yeah, our runs with the Nova were pretty wild. They are the fastest car here the weekend. I mean, we're running times on everybody, and they have just been killing it out there. So, our first pair of runs, my spotter was really confident that we had it. They called us one more time. So we didn't touch the car. We left everything the same. We didn't want to turn it up too much. Went back out and just kind of like threw it in a little bit tighter to him on the chase, and we were only like a car length behind him this time. On my lead run, as we came down into inner one, was sliding in, going wide and coming in towards the inner clip. I went for my downshift, and Chelsea was just like right on our door. Spotter said he was like basically pushing us around the track like the whole time, and as I was downshifting, he bumped into us and spun out. And so it was, I mean, it's unfortunate. I don't want to win that way off of a collision, but it was just us trying to get through the course, and Chelsea was pushing real hard as he always does. I feel like he bumps me almost every time we've run this year, so he's a hard guy to beat.
With the 16 a wrap, the next stop is the Great 8. Our drivers are poised and ready to see battle. First up, Peter Visick, our #1 qualifier. Can he make it a perfect event?
Yeah, I was trying to stay as high as on the bank as I can. In the middle of the bank there is a shadow actually, so we are blinded for a second. So when I got my vision, let's say, back, I noticed that I need to stop on the brakes because I try not to overshoot the touch and go, and I managed to do it to stay in the zone, transition and finish the track. Then I was chasing him. I tried to stay as close as possible, just not to leave him a gap and be blinded by the smoke. I managed to do that. I was even a bit too close on the first transition, but everything went smoothly and I managed to go through. So I need to prepare because I'm going next actually.
So I just had a great battle with Gucci in top 8. It was really close in the first battle, so we got one more time. When I led, I felt the power is a little bit down, so my lead run wasn't as good as before, but I still did okay lead run, and I think he was with me the whole time. So I know I have to bring my best when I follow him. I tried my best and tried to go close. I was doing good on the bank, but coming down to the infield, I kind of checked up and I had a little gap. But luckily that kind of worked out because he went off the track So I just went through inside of his car and then just passed him. Since he was off the track, I think that was legal.
We did a lead run with JTP. I was happy with my lead run overall. I think I almost dropped the wheel in the touch and go, but overall it was strong. He had a bit of distance to me on the bank and he closed in on me for the rest of the run. Then we switched positions. I was chasing and I misanticipated his speed in the straight line, so I was too far back when we were initiating. But in general, finished off the bank, I was slowly catching him. He was pretty fast, and when he was going downshifting from 4th gear to 3rd gear, his gearbox exploded. So he just hit the rev limiter and lost speed, and I crashed into him. But yeah, we got the win. We're moving on.
Running with Dylan, it was awesome. We went out and did a nice solid lead run. My spotter told me that he was like keeping up with us pretty good, you know, so it's like maybe a small mistake on the infield, but he was keeping up on the bank, so we just went in and threw it right in with him and like fighting the car a little bit to stay off of him. But we came around, came up to inner one. He kind of over-rotated for a second and you know, just basically throttled out. I bumped him a little bit, same place that Chelsea had hit me, but Dylan was looping out before I actually hit him. So.
After the grade 8, the Final Four set when we come back.
Formula Drift Insider on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Black Magic. Own your shine. By Gum Out. Science in, performance out. By Nitto Tire. Fueled by enthusiasts. And by Achilles Radio. Tires you can trust.
The moment is upon us. The Final Four is here. Peter Visick got the #1 spot. Can he make it the perfect event? He has to get through Formula Drift champion Dai Yoshihara. Peter Visick on his 3rd season has really made a statement, but now can he make it to the finals?
So my battle with Dai, I was leading first. I was trying to do my best on a lead position, but the shadow is interfering a lot, to be honest. It's constantly moving. The end of the first outside zone is getting more slippery, also the beginning of touch and go. I actually brake a bit too much, so in touch and go I was only with one wheel. The rest of the run was not that bad, I think. Then I was chasing Dai and tried to stay close to him, but once he initiates, he steps on the gas so hard that I really struggled to stay behind him. But unfortunately, I think he dropped 2 wheels in touch and go, so probably maybe the shadow messed up a bit with his run, and I think that was the decision breaker for our battle, but it was tough.
So we had James in semifinals, killer, perfectly consistent driver, right? And so we're going down the straightaway. I had to chase him first, which is never the advantage. So as we're going down the straight, I was pacing him a little too hard, you know, trying to make sure he didn't get away from me. And so I had to kind of lift for a half second as we initiate to make sure he got in front of us. And I fell back about 2 car lengths, was able to close that gap about halfway through the bank, but you know, definitely not a good way to start the run. My lead run, I went 2 tires over at the touch and go because I was just up on the wall, just skinny to the floor, just trying to go big angle, big smoke and get as much speed as I could because I knew it'd be planted on my door. But as I was coming off, I just couldn't really get the car woed down enough to make the corner, put 2 tires off, and I think between those 2 things, he gave it to James. So I shouldn't say he gave it to James. James won.
And with that, it's an all-Werthouse Drift Team final. James the Machine Dean versus Peter Visick the Candyman, otherwise known as the Candy Machine. Peter Visick and James Dean, their cars look very similar, but 2 very different driving styles. They put a show on for the fans, eventually giving the fans what they want.
One more time. There's something up the steering on this side. Change the back tires, then we'll look at this, and then we can qualify. Yeah, going one more time is awesome. Got 2 minutes, so hopefully we're gonna be good.
Straighten the wheel, straighten the wheel. Yeah, I think that's why they brought the lift. Oh, got stuck? No, that's it. You got take down the photo. Remember me with the tire? Yeah. With the ladder?
The clock expires, but fortunately for both drivers and teams, the cars are buttoned up and ready for battle. After the judges requested one more time, the fans couldn't be more excited. The sun sets here at Evergreen Speedway for round 5, and Peter Visick makes it the perfect event. After exchanging paint, fiberglass, and body parts, the Candyman delivers here in Seattle.
When I was driving with James, I was leading first, and each time when I transitioned, I felt, boop, okay, there is James. You know, he was always poking me through the right direction, but he wasn't doing anything bad. He was doing what he should. And then when I was chasing him, I just tried to prove that I have something on him, but I didn't know, you know, it was still the last moment. I tried to give my best. I know that I also did a few mistakes, but in the end, it is what it is. I'm so happy for the outcome, and yeah, I think it's the time for celebration, you know.
Managed to get second, but what a way to get second place, man. I swear that's the most fun way you can get second in an event. There's no better way, for sure. Super happy with the result. It's our third podium in a row, and it just feels great.
I mean, Seattle, Evergreen Speedway, Monroe, everything that it's known was unbelievable. The guys turned it up a notch again, maybe a little bit too much. We saw some crazy occurrences happen after the finish line with Osbo and James Dean, which made for awesome viewing, fun for the fans, right? But crazy for competition, and knowing that they're just going through the cars, going through motors, going through parts, going through suspension. It was one of those events, but ultimately, at the end of the day, it was an incredible show and great for the fans.
Round 5 delivered, and especially for the Candyman Peter Visick. He's raised to the top by his friends, and he raised himself to the top. We'll see you in St. Louis for round 6 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. In association with Formula Drift, this has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.